Happy Homecoming Week 2. The deployment vlog has come to an end. As you all know, we are now moving on to homecoming because homecoming is literally around the corner. As I said in my last video, we are days away from him gracing us with his presence. Nothing happened last week that's worth sharing. You've seen my crazy that I've been dealing with. Other than that, nothing really happened that's worth sharing. So this week I'm going to talk about the do's and don'ts of communication. I feel like at the very least you all should be in the same chapter of the book after deployment. You should be on the same page, but if you're not on the same page, you at the very least should be in the same chapter. You cannot be in a different book after a deployment because shit will hit the fan. I will be honest and say there have been times throughout my marriage that we have been in different books after deployment. And it took, I'm not going to say months, but it took some time for us to get in the same chapter, then on the same page. And I will say that the reason for that was because one of my don'ts that I have listed is don't try to be Mr. or Mrs. Independent. Don't do that. I still struggle with that now. Let me elaborate a little bit on that. Say the kids have school events or doctor's appointments or things like that. Don't try to be Miss Independent, Mr. Independent, and do it all and shut them out. I still struggle with that right now. He'll come home and there's things that the kids have scheduled, school events, this, that, and the third, and I'm like, I got it. Instead of like passing it along to him, no, I just do it all myself. And things like that lead to the petty arguments, and then he go his way, I go my way. And I will take the fault for something like that because I'm already programmed in the family of three still that everything's on my plate. I got to do it all. I got to make it happen. Not even giving him the opportunity to say, babe, I got this. Let me help you. No. So that is something I'm trying now to like program in my brain that when he comes home, if there's anything, doctor's appointments, things like that, that I can pass along to him versus I got it all. Don't do that. Be willing to share responsibilities when it comes to the kids. Don't shut them out because I do it. And it just leads to the petty, stupid arguments, all because you want to be Mr. or Mrs. Independent. Don't do that. That kind of goes with like household routines. Like, I don't know if y'all have like a cleaning routine or however you run your household. I don't know, bedtime. Like say if you have, your children have bedtimes and say the baby's bedtime changed while he or she was gone, or I don't know, the baby went from a bottle to a cup. Be willing to explain and share those things with them instead of, again, trying to be Mr. or Mrs. Independent and not share that type of information. Because all these things that I've said, that I'm sharing with y'all, I've been down that road. And again, it just leads to the petty arguments. And when I say petty arguments, it starts out with the situation at hand, but then somebody gonna bring up something that happened 3 weeks ago. And then the argument goes way left for no reason. So just be willing to communicate those different changes or events that took place while he or she was gone. it's not hard. It really is not hard, because there's no need for a petty argument. It really is. If you keep an open line of communication after a deployment, it should be smooth sailing. I don't think nothing is too small to communicate about, because you have to remember that you all were separated for X amount of time. You were on your own X amount of time. He or she was on their own X amount of time. You all are coming back and being reunited. You have to get that communication going, especially if you didn't get to communicate the whole time they were gone. I mean, if you didn't communicate the whole 6 months that they were gone, I mean, come on, y'all should have a shitload of shit to talk about. If that is the case, don't hit them all at once. I will say that, because trust me, they will be very overwhelmed if they come home and you just nonstop. They're gonna be like, what the fuck did I walk into? Give it to me in pieces, because I've done that too. I've definitely done that too. And I've just been like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, all the way to Z. And I lost him at A. He stopped listening when I said A. So give it to him in pieces. Don't give it to him all at once. Communicate. That's all I can say. Communicate about anything and everything after our deployment. It's important. That's it. I will catch y'all next week.